everyone, and welcome back to Three Dads and a Console! We know not every dad can stay up to date on the latest and greatest in video game news that you need to know about, so we are here to do it for you! Remember, this show is kid-friendly, so no earmuffs are needed. I am one of your hosts, Wobble Plays, alongside, as always, the Court Lalonde. Hello, Court.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm well. What's new?
I can officially say that I finished The Last of Us. I can say it now on air. I can be like, yeah, I finished The Last of Us.
Say it.
I even replied to because I could say that I played it. So when Walmart Gaming yesterday was like, so what game is everybody playing? I'm like, Last of Us Remake, and they just sent me like a cheeky thing. I'm like, what? Like that's what I'm playing.
Yeah, that's what you want.
It's done.
True.
I'm on my second playthrough.
Oh God!
You tweeted the title screen, so I mean, it's fact.
Hey, well, that's what I'm
true.
saying. We were allowed to do that.
Also alongside is the one and only Pez. Hello, Pez.
Hey, how's it going, mates? Lads? Lasses? What's the crack?
You're just getting more European as the episodes continue.
I don't even think that's European. It's more almost like just like whatever. He's like he's living in a pirate game. Like he'll be the only one streaming the new Ubisoft game. Like let's be honest, Pez is all over Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the world to be playing God of War, and he's like Skull and Bones all day long.
I can get a crew to join me. You're right. I would. 100%.
The true crew. The two crew.
I don't know. I see able-bodied lads right here. Maybe this is it. This is like the Skull and Bones.
If it doesn't,
right here.
If the game doesn't include a hockey stick, Waba doesn't play it.
Or have trophy support.
Yeah, seriously. Like, have you finished Peppa Pig yet?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm waiting for my daughter.
You got to get the platinum in that. Like,
I'm sorry, she takes forever. We play in 5-minute sessions.
I got the platinum in that and the 1,000 gamer score.
Court, when are you going to become a real platy daddy? That's the real question.
Well, I live so oddly enough, I live in Keswick, and like Keswick dinner jackets are like it's a joke because like it's plaid. Like if Daps lived in Keswick, his sports coat there would have to be one of those plaid ones with the patches. For sure.
Yeah, and a little bit of some sort of tartan underneath or some sort of plaid patterning.
With that time I went to the Unicorn Cafe, that was on the recommendations of Mr. Dapper Tux here, and so that's our guest. Like, we might as well like introduce our guest here.
We are here with the one, the only, the famous Dapper Tux.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I absolutely love the show, love the energy. So yeah, when I saw the invite, I was like, okay, got to make this happen. And it's hard though, like as all of us being dads, to schedule something. It's like, well, I want to do this thing, but I've got to do this. I got to go to a Unicorn Cafe, or I got to go to a hockey game, or so on and so forth. But you know what? It's what we do as gaming dads, right?
100%. Like you've been at the X, like every day this week?
Yeah, it seems like that. It's actually been 4 days. I'll be back tomorrow, so I can plug that. That's September 1st. I'll be back at the CNE Gaming Garage, powered by AMD. But yeah, that's been a really exciting opportunity. When I was younger, Toronto boy, grew up at the CNE, so to be asked to host that, and I've been doing it for about almost 5 years now. It's just been awesome. Get to see so many people out in the community and host some panels with some really, really awesome folks, in and around Toronto, and a lot of other Canadian influencers in the gaming space. So yeah, it's been rad.
Did you go to the food pavilion?
Oh, I went on the media day, and the media day holds a special place in my heart because what they do is outside, right in front of where TFC and the Argos play, they set up in front of the field like every single thing, craziest, best food for you to try. You just give it a shot. So it's like
what's 10, the best
10,000 calorie day. What's the it's almost like a one-upmanship of like the craziest stuff. So this year, I think one of the big headline things was macaroni lemonade, dill pickle lemonade, ketchup soft serve, mustard soft serve, which is surprisingly like not as revolting as
I would think ketchup soft serve was probably pretty good.
It was all right. Like it was like more vanilla-y than ketchup, but every year at the CNE, they're trying to always like one up. Oh, the best thing I had, the banger was they deep fried like mozzarella balls and dusted them in cinnamon toast crunch. And I'm a big cinnamon toast crunch stan. Oh, it was delicious.
Cinnamon toast
it
crunch
was
is
delicious.
Cinnamon Toast
I-
Crunch is the best. My
I
wife doesn't let
only
me have
had
it.
it.
It's the best.
I only had it. I tried it because a certain person on the show bought me a thing of cereal that's pretty much cinnamon toast crunch. So I was like, oh, I should try it first. He still hasn't sent me the cereal. That'd probably expire by the time it gets to me.
That's
But
weird.
I bought cinnamon toast crunch. I didn't have it until I was in my 40s.
What?
Yeah.
No
So
way.
growing up,
No
like
wonder
in my
you're shit,
house,
'cause-
my mom wouldn't let
Can
me
we
have
make
that kind of stuff.
Like that the title of this episode? Court has not had cinnamon toast crunch.
No, I had it
We'll have
now.
to change
It's
it.
I
It's
had
so
it.
good.
As someone
you
that
had
loves
Fruity
like French
Pebbles?
toast and loves cinnamon, I finally had it and I gave it to my daughter and she literally like ran around the house for an hour after eating it. But
They have
Um,
cinnamon toast crunch like branded stuff now. Like they have like a jam now that you can buy.
well, yeah, I'm sure
Oh,
that's
yeah.
in the United States. I
Of course it's
seriously
here.
doubt that's in Canada.
Oh, stuff in the US. I was just down in Buffalo yesterday and my shopping trips just turned into like, what is the craziest thing that they've taken like one product and mashed it into another? I had when I was down in Florida,
was up in Collingwood and I saw it there and I like messaged that. I was like, oh my God, I found it. Like I found it in the wild because like certain stores might magically have it because it was magically delicious. It was good.
it
Dude,
was
they
good,
brought back
right?
Oreo
Yeah.
O's. That's the
Yeah.
best cereal. It was Oreo.
Yeah,
It's just like what is it? Apples. Was it Apple Jacks? But just Oreo flavored.
So, oh, that sounds delicious.
That's
My
what we do
neighbor
here,
and
man.
I like, and I think he's little older than I am, but we were shoveling our snow, and it was like we got like 40 centimeters, and it was insane. So my wife comes out with the 2 cups, and I know that it was supposed to be like Lucky Charms marshmallows, and I was hyping it up for my neighbor, and I was just like, "Where's the marshmallows?" And I said to my neighbor, his name's Doug. I'm like, "You want the marshmallows?" He's like, "Of course I want the marshmallows." So we're both out there, like two like 12-year-olds, just like drinking our like Lucky Charms marshmallows. Hot chocolate, and it was just amazing. What a
Yeah, it's
bonding
phenomenal.
experience.
I've still got it. So what we did to spice it up a little bit, I actually bought the Lucky Charm cereal as well. And then my daughter and I went through and we picked out all the marshmallows so that when we did it, we put the whipped cream on top and then we put the extra marshmallows in the whipped cream.
You
Go big or go home.
dude. In the U.S., they have only marshmallow Lucky Charms. They
I
do
was
it
about to
for
mention
you.
that. Just the marshmallows.
That
I
is
don't understand.
disgusting.
What do you mean? Someone's got to do it, Court, and we will gladly.
My
I can buy
God.
like 10 pounds of just the marshmallows on eBay. So you know what? Maybe that'll be one episode where I'll just sit here and just eat the bowl of marshmallows.
Oh
Just hold it in your
goodness.
hand. Don't even acknowledge it.
Like popcorn.
Oh.
Just throw it in.
So I
Yeah,
know
you can eat.
we're here today to talk about probably some of the best things to come out of America, not just cereal, but in terms of video games. The big topic of the day that Court alluded to is The Last of Us. Now, Court and Dapper have both had the opportunity to play Last of Us, so we want to ask for their impressions and, also ask a lot of questions. I've played the game before. Pez has not. So
False. I played it. I didn't like it.
you didn't play enough. That's why. So
Oh yeah, no. So
Whoa, really?
so Dapper. So
Yeah.
little thing about Pez. He also doesn't like Uncharted.
True.
I know, right?
No
It's
way.
so
That's
weird.
like one of my best games of
Yeah.
all
I
time.
played
Yeah.
Uncharted 1 and I went, oh, this game sucks. I'm not playing it.
Well, you know what? In
You know
fairness
what?
to that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can like I wouldn't. I'm not going to say any Uncharted game sucks because I couldn't live with myself.
Mhm.
But in fairness, I felt like I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. I love Indiana Jones, and there was just after seeing like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was it? I was just like, oh.
yeah,
And
it's bad.
I found the Uncharted series was like that thing I was waiting for to fill that gap, and it did. It's just the first game I found to where did you? Okay, I would say it would have picked up by then, but I mean, I think it really truly comes into form with Uncharted 2. 3 was pretty good. The set pieces in there were great, but then 4 was just like the sort of magnum opus. But
Yeah, like
I
Pez, like, it doesn't
like,
matter.
I
I
like
would-
hearing people that don't always are just like, yeah, we all love this, and we're all just going to go with the hive mind and say that we like it and we don't. But what didn't you like about it?
For me, with Uncharted 1, the story was fine. It was the controls I hated. And I don't know if it was like it just because it's old game old, you know what I mean? But I was like, I
Yeah.
can't. I feel like I had to fight the game to play it the whole time.
The controls are bad. They are. As someone who tried to go back and play the whole collection again when I first got my PS5. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back and play everything. I was like halfway through 1. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to 2. I'm good. I know the story. I'm just gonna go to 2. 2 was great. 3 was great. I used to think 3 was my favorite, and then 2 is now my favorite, and then 4, then 3, then 1. Actually, I would probably take the Legacy Collection and throw it like the. Yeah, 1 is probably my least favorite of all the Uncharted.
Where would you rate the Vita one?
Actually, Golden Abyss, I liked Golden Abyss.
Yeah,
I was a
that
big fan of that
pretty
game,
good.
except for the fact that you'd throw grenades and use the touch controls to do so, which was very annoying.
Okay.
And yeah, so
if
stupid.
Golden Abyss counts, I played 2 Uncharted games because I actually played that one to completion because it was on the Vita and I love the Vita. I play
Thank
anything.
God.
on the Vita.
I would count that. I would count that.
Redemption.
But Pez edited my Last of Us review, and now he says officially
I said
that he's
I'll give
going.
it a shot.
He's going to go play it.
But I'm not buying
You
it at
have
full price.
editors?
There we go.
I'm so jealous of the fact that you have editors.
Yeah, I got
Any
Pez, and I have Ryan Turford at Carpool. I couldn't edit if I
Nice.
tried. I can write a script. I can play the game. I can take notes. I can save all that. Like I saved all the video and I labeled the videos. I did all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to putting it all together, yeah, I ain't got no talent for that.
Interns can apply at 3dadsandaconsole@gmail.com. Unpaid.
I offer
hours.
I offer to edit the video, edit the reviews. So, when Cord is messing up, he'll go, I know you like that one because he knows I'm laughing at him when he tries the same thing like 3 times.
I've heard
It's
that
not
you
as
guys
easy as it sounds.
do pay your editors in Lucky Charms marshmallows. So
Pays him in
there's
V-Bucks.
that.
I would
I don't even
rather
pay
have
him in that.
V-Bucks because I can't have marshmallows.
I subscribe to his Twitch channel.
There we go. That's all I need.
So, Dapper, we'll let you go first. Overall impressions of The Last of Us remake.
I was totally shocked at how good it was for something that I had played so many times over. I just thought, I'm gonna have to go through the motions. Things are gonna be up-resed here, and I was just like, I don't think there's enough in here to justify this at first. But then I played it, and playing through it, and not to get into too much of the jargon that I think a lot of like Sony and PlayStation has provided, but it's true. Like when you start looking through, when you start playing the game, the graphics, the acting, what they did with the actual character models, just to bring things just so much. There's just so much more emotion in it. It was just insane, and plus the updating of the controls as well too. The enemies were a lot more challenging, which I really liked. Like that was something that was like, okay, I'm not used to them being them. I was like literally flanked. Like it was insane. I would be like behind crates and I'm like, most Uncharted games, most Naughty Dog games, it's like, okay, you're in cover. You're going to be okay unless they toss a grenade. But this time around, they would search in pairs. It just seemed like the world was so much more alive. Outside of that, I was a little bit disappointed. And I think the game has seen a little bit of hit back on Metacritic with the scoring, with the lack of anything kind of new. If it's your first time playing it, oh man, like this is a lights out experience. You must own this on the PS5, unless you don't like the series at all. But it's one of those things that is absolutely fantastic. They made it look great. They brought in a lot of the elements that made The Last of Us Part 2 so great. Like again, from mechanics to a lot of like the weapon table, like Court, I'm sure you're playing a lot with like, upgrading weapons and things like that. It is so satisfying. It could be like ASMR, like in terms of like cleaning the guns and oh man.
When you make the bombs with the scissors in it, just the noise of the cans opening. Like I love it. Like it's a phenomenal noise.
It's so cool. There are some like funny things with the actual like upgrading your guns and weapons at the table. Like sometimes it's like, in order to increase the rate of fire, he just like will clean the gun with a rag, and it's like, okay, now I can shoot faster. But outside of that, there's some really cool animations where Joel like literally outfits the gun and his body covers it, but then when he brings the gun back into view after the upgrade's done, it's just like, oh man, this is really something.
I also noticed that in the cutscenes, if you've upgraded a weapon and he's holding that weapon, the upgraded weapon will be in that cutscene.
Yeah,
because originally in the original Last of Us, the cutscenes weren't in engine. So I didn't know that until the remake came out. and that's when they pretty
Oh,
much
cool.
admitted it for the first time. So they were actually just like cutscenes. They weren't in-engine cutscenes. So now the cutscenes are definitely in engine.
And it's
Continue.
interesting you notice that because too, like I got a little bit too up close and personal with an enemy, and when I hit them, it left a bit of a splashback on me, and then in the cutscene, it was there. But it is, and we talked about this. It is a visceral experience. I think because the world building is so good, the lore is so good, and the characters are so natural in their behavior. When you like grab someone and you're almost holding them hostage, the way they plead with you in that, it's very jarring. It starts in other games, they just kind of ragdoll and they're like, oh, you've got me now, I'm done. They start pleading with you and start saying things like, okay, let's take this one step at a time. And it really freaks you out. But I think Naughty Dog, with telling a story such as this, they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I have to concur on a lot of that. I'll start off actually with one of the things that I don't know if it's like a perturb, or I was very surprised on the choice when they didn't just make the Left Behind DLC part of the story, because technically when you start the Left Behind DLC, it brings you back into the game, a specific point in the game. So I actually, when I got to that point and the DLC didn't start, I was like, really? Like, I was actually
Yeah.
shocked that they just didn't put it in. Because Neil Druckmann, when he said, this is my vision, I want to make the game that I always wanted to make. So I was like, okay, well, you've always said that the Left Behind DLC was originally going to be part of the game, and then you left it out because you didn't want to make the game too long. Because back then, we were only getting games that were like 10, 12 hours. And if you went over that, people would lose their mind. Now we're getting games that are 40 to 50 to 90 hours, right? But I was very shocked that they didn't do that. Not to give anything away, because I won't, but like the ending is different. So have fun with that, everybody. So play the game. And then, yeah.
For better,
I didn't know
or-
that.
For better or worse, don't go into
I
it.
honestly, I'm not going to give
Better
my
or worse.
opinion. I didn't give it in the review. I'm just
True.
going to say it's different.
You said
That's
it was
all I'm going to
very
say. And you'll
controversial.
want to get to it. If you played it before, go play it. The ending is different. I really, really, really couldn't get over the character animations on how much it changed my viewpoint in this game, especially as a parent. When I first played it through, I finished it twice on the PS3, twice on the PS4, and now about to finish twice on the PS5. I wasn't a parent when I played it on PS3. I wasn't a parent when I played it on PS4. I am a parent of a daughter. So that first 20 minutes of the game was a lot to deal with me. I had to literally put my controller down. I had to walk away for a bit. I messaged Sean Capri and I was like, I need to walk away for a bit because it was bad. And my daughter was sleeping and all I wanted to do was give her a hug. So I couldn't play it for the rest of the night. I'm like, I'm done. They really draw you in. And I've even bought a PS3 just so I can play it again to see the difference, because you could see life in their eyes, not just in their facial expressions. So there was a lot that really grabs you when you play this game. And then there's a scene, and we put it in our review, where Joel's on top of the Capitol building, and Ellie says something, and he just stares at her, and you can see in his eyes that he is in love with her. He is just like, and Tess is off in the background, and you can see Tess like shaking her head because she can see it too. And I know when I went through and I tried to watch that cutscene again for the PS3 version, it doesn't hit the same way. So some of these things that I saw, I started watching those cutscenes again on the PS3 version, and I was like, wow, they don't like, just those attentions to details brought so much. And then the environment I found was more alive this time around.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the spores, it looked like a fog that you could almost touch while you were playing the game. It gave
and
more
it
lifelike.
moved around your character. Like,
yeah, and then you
that
had
was
the
actually
rats.
the one part. Yeah, the rats were like, rats don't necessarily bother me, but they're like, and it looked like the ground was moving. But with the spores are actually only part of the game. I was playing almost all of it in fidelity because I love going and taking as many pictures as I can with photo mode. So I want to have like the up-res best experience so that I can throw it on
For
the
future
socials and be
reference,
like,
when you go into photo mode, you can just turn on fidelity. So I played in performance,
thought-
but I went in photo mode. You can just change it.
oh, that's good to know. I still, I don't know. I like just going around the environment and seeing it naturally like that. But I know a lot of Insomniac games, it just automatically turns it on. So when you go into photo mode, you don't even have to select it; it just pops in. So I know they did that with Miles Morales, and that's really cool to know. It would. I don't know if it would change how I would play. I found the frame
I'm
rate
telling
itself
you right
really.
now, play it on performance on New Game Plus, and you mentioned how you were getting attacked and they flanking you. They definitely do that. Left Behind, the scene in the mall at the end.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I died so many times. Like, it's so hard to play that scene because they flank the living daylights out of you in that.
Yeah.
But I found the combat to be less jarring than I remember it on the PS3, and very smooth and very forgiving, especially once you've upgraded the sway on your gun and you no longer have the sway. I found the
Yeah.
combat actually to be a lot better and more accurate. Also, I know you and I both discussed this while we are reviewing the game. The gore has been stepped up to a notch that I have never seen in a Naughty Dog game. It's vicious.
Yeah. Even I found with parts of The Last of Us 2, like it was really jarring with a lot of, some of the animations that would happen when, you were taking out an enemy. And I feel like they've incorporated a lot of that back into part one. But it's even with Ellie, I guess I'm not spoiling anything, but
No,
saying obviously you play as her.
you can say
Like,
you could say characters' names. We're just not going to give off story beats. That's why I said like
but
the endings change, but you'll figure it out by playing it.
yeah, exactly. But like just the animations now when she sneaks up on someone and takes them out with her melee attack, it is so visceral and it's like quick stabbing motions and it's just like, oh boy, this is a lot. And you can tell she's hanging on to, for dear life when this is happening. But the animations are just so, like there's blood that hits the camera and changes the depth of field. I don't. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I found, and I was even saying this to Court as a playing, I'm like, I'm a little bit more sensitive to all this. I'm just like, I'm starting to cringe more. I don't know. Like I said, am I getting older, or is it something that Naughty Dog has put in? But I don't feel like they've overdone it. I feel like it does act as a device to push along the story and better reflect how brutal the environment is and how high stakes things are. I don't
Yeah,
know
and
if you feel the same way.
like when they use the
It's not like
shotgun, the shotgun
Mortal
rips
Kombat.
people in half.
Yeah, it's oof.
And the scene that I'm not giving anything away. The scene that's in the bar that's on fire that we all know,
Mhm.
that is one of the most graphic, probably now to me, one of the best cutscenes in video games. The way
Yeah.
they did that is now like unbelievable. The
And the lighting.
cinematography, the way they did that it's just crazy because the thing happens and then they just cut to Joel and Ellie and there's silence. And they tell the
Yeah.
story in silence and it is powerful.
And I think that's like you alluded to that before. I think it's part of the tech because I was reading a little bit more about the improvements Naughty Dog made, and they actually put tear ducts into the characters' eyes, so characters now will cry in engine
So
in the
crazy.
actual cutscenes, and if they are under pressure, they will flush. Like their skin, if they're in the freezing cold, their skin will go a lot redder in certain areas. If they're embarrassed by something or they're angry, Naughty Dog's always been the best, in my opinion, in the industry with animations like that and conveying character emotion. But this just dials it up to a whole new level. It's like playing a new game.
And I know people will freak out when I say this, but I kind of wish they would go do Last of Us 2 and change the engine so we could get because that's how good this is. As someone who is a very story-driven character, that's the type of game I want. I like Assassin's Creed for the finding things, but I love the stories in those games. This game, after playing it, is my favorite game of all time now. It was there. It was in my top 5. It is now there. This is the ultimate version. It also has me like, please, Sony, put this on PC. Let me play it on PC. I want to dial this up to full. I want this 4K 120. Let me play this in all the beautiful fidelities that I can try. But this game, I can't recommend it enough. And for those parents out there, because we at Three Dads we do this, do not play this in front of your kids. Do not
make
play
sure
this.
they're like
18 plus.
very, very asleep. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go as, depending on the age of your child, I'm going to call you a bad parent if you play this near them, around them, even if they're in the next room and they're like walking in and seeing parts of it. Don't do that. Do not do that. It is. Yeah, like, again, I'm almost in my 40s here, and it's the violence and the amount of games I played, like more like, I played a ton of Mortal Kombat, all of those things, and this is just even more realist. I think it's because the characters themselves are so reactive to the environment and so alive that it's just like you feel like you're taking real lives in the game, and it's jarring. And no child under the age of 18, I'm going to say right now, should experience this. Like, it's just, I'm laughing because I know Dapper Jr. right now is playing Halo Infinite, but he's only
It's Halo,
8.
it's spaceships.
But it's a little bit different.
And it's empty. The world's kind of empty.
Yeah. This is a whole new. Actually, he's playing multiplayer, and he's getting real good. Like,
Oh, wow.
really good. Yeah, 8 years old. But no. Back to The Last of Us. Phenomenal game. Don't play it in front of your children if they are under 18.
I did find it funny that all of us took the same screenshot of the lake in the winter.
Yeah.
And that is like a very jarring section of the game. And all of us were like, I'm going to stop right here and look at this beautiful sunset over the lake.
Honestly, I think it's just the way it kind of goes, right? Like when you're doing it for the gram or whatever you're doing it for, even though you're being pursued by like 30 adult men and you're like a 14-year-old child, it's like, well, you know what? I'm going to stop and take some nice pictures here. But
and that was the other thing, the photo mode when you're in the cutscenes, it's unbelievable. I think it was you, Dad, or someone put out a post today and was like, zoom in on the photo and look how crazy it is, because that's how much detail is in those photos. Just if you even on that like Twitter, you zoom in on that photo, it is it's pretty impressive. Like I will say this: thank God Sony changed the app where you can pull up your photos now and get all your captures. Like, thank you. But Sony, if you're listening, can you please change so that we don't have to record in the video format that you have us recording in, so that it's easier for editors and everybody to switch over the video. I know Pez would like that. I know Ryan Turfer would like that. Please change it so we can change the format. On Xbox, when you share and you capture video, you can select whatever type of video. You can change anything. So PlayStation, please do that.
Yeah, MP4 would be really nice.
Thank you.
Agree.
Just do MP4 like a normal person. Thank you.
Yeah, when I bring everything onto my Mac, it opens like natively in Chrome. Like, yeah, I totally, I'm +1 for that. But I use VLC and then I can open it. But yeah. Oh, and don't forget to pet the dog.
You get the trophy.
Videos, you get a trophy.
Most importantly.
I
have so can you? I can't still see my trophies yet.
Mine haven't populated either. I'm gonna go back and look, but they were saying that they will not populate. They probably won't populate until it hits street date, which is the 1st or the 2nd.
Yeah, like because we're allowed to show that we're playing it now, because we had to hide it. For everybody knowing, we had to hide the game, and then so it didn't even show up on my it doesn't even show up on my thing. It shows that because I know a friend of the show, Steve Igvari, he's almost platinumed it. Like, seriously, this guy, I will not platinum this game. I am definitely going to do a second playthrough on New Game Plus and get all those trophies. And for everybody, there are so many different difficulty settings on this now. You can play it on Super Baby mode. Yeah. On my second playthrough right now, I am playing on Super Baby mode just because I'm just going to go through it. I even skipped the cutscene because I didn't want to go through that again. But there's so many accessibility features. I can't recommend this game enough for people to go out and play it.
And good on Sony. Like, it's just, I've just got so many friends in the community, like Steve Saylor, and knowing for a gamer like him, like a blind gamer that just loves this art form so much, for someone like Naughty Dog to consult with him, work with him, and work with others in the community just to make the experience more accessible for everyone. That's the way this industry needs to head and should be heading. And when you play a game like this and it's just such a rich story-based experience, like, I wish more games would jump on board. Like, I know there's games like Elden Ring that pride themselves on being impossibly hard, and games like even Returnal, another Sony title. But it would be great to see right away from the get-go, let people play it the way they want. Like, I don't know if you guys, like, as dads, like, playing something like Elden Ring, I really enjoyed it, but man, the grind.
I will not play that.
I won't even play it. So
won't even consider it.
Court plays every game on baby mode, and he's proud of it because I just don't have time for it. I don't have time for it.
I used to be like, I'm going to start this game on crushing. Well, like, for, Naughty Dog and kind of like Uncharted vernacular, right? Crushing is the hardest because I want to get the platinum. And if I go through it, I can pick up some things, go back and clean up. But now I'm just like, no, I want to experience this game and enjoy it and not look for every teeny tiny little collectible. I used to be more about that, like more trophy hunting. I still achievement hunt here and there, but I don't know, especially on a dad's podcast, I can very comfortably say this. It's just like, I would rather spend more time with my child or, playing something else with him than endlessly hunting or endlessly grinding at the same boss that just keeps destroying me over and over again. No thanks. No
Yeah.
thank you.
So
Give me my tight 12-hour experience and
So
I will be on my way so happy.
with the trophy list, I know in PS3 it was very punishing. I played all the way through and I might have gotten like 3 trophies. Did they change the trophy list at all?
Yes.
Or is it still
yes.
as
There
like
are some
challenging?
there are some like just popping and you're like, okay, oh my god, a trophy pop. Like when I
Yeah.
pet the dog and the trophy pop, I'm like, oh my god, you get a trophy for not
I
finishing the
love
game.
I love that because but you're right. I felt that way on the PS3. I was like, I beat the game, but I have like literally one trophy, and I found what I thought was almost all of the Firefly dog tags and things like that. But no, it still is. I think I only had 4 or 5 pop during my first
I, th-
playthrough, but
I was
I might go
impressed.
back. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
got all the Firefly tags without going through a
Oh, good
walkthrough.
for you.
That's how much I played the game 4 times. I got them all. I was like, wow. I was so like, my brain can't remember anything. I got them all. But I didn't get all the optional conversations. Now, I will say this for trophy hunters out there, they've made the optional conversations a heck of a lot easier.
Good.
So
Yeah.
before you kind of had to like find them, you will actually like the triangle will pop. Like it pretty much
Yeah.
shows you off in the distance. Like it's over
And
there. Just go get it.
it'll pop and it's something like you'll be having a conversation with someone and you'll be like, man, I hope this kind of continues, or they'll give you a bit of a primer in the conversation and then you'll just kind of turn towards that character naturally because it's like, okay, I feel like they have something more to say, and then you'll hear the very Uncharted like boom, and then the little triangle pops up. It's like, okay. But yeah, the whole like let me hide little tidbits of the storyline through like you having to do all these like odd little errands. I don't love that. And you're
Yeah.
right, Court. They've cleaned it up, and yeah, I really like it.
Pez, as someone who hasn't finished, has what Court and Dapper shared with you, has that changed your mind? You feel differently about it than you might have? I know you've seen some of the footage because but
I
what are your
mean,
thoughts now?
I got the whole spoiler review, so it's fine. But no,
Oh, well.
so I off stream I told Court that like I'm willing to I want to give it a shot because it looks really good, so I'll sit here on my 1080p 144 frame monitor, play it on 60 frames and have a good time. So it looks really nice, and I was very interested in his dad take. And as the father of 2 girls, I cry very easily now in my life.
Ooh, buddy, this is gonna
So
destroy
You're
you.
this
done,
is
son.
so
we
I am
got to give him a
okay.
disclaimer.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
okay with some pain. So I said I'll give it a shot, but I said I'm not paying $70 for it. I'll wait until
Yeah,
it's on
like
sale and give it a go.
my one story that I have with this game that before the remake has that I was playing it on my second playthrough on the PS4 and I was in my basement and my father-in-law just happened to be there and he was in his early 60s at the time. And he walked in my basement and it literally was the very beginning of the game. And he sat through, he was like, "Oh my God, this is like watching a movie." I knew it was coming and I didn't tell him. So he's watching, I'm playing as Sarah, the thing is happening, and then everything else happens after that. He lost it. He started getting mad. This is not, how do you do, like, you can't do that. Like like, I was like, oh, and I was like, Alfie, calm down. He's like, no, that's not fair. I'm like, no, I know it's not, but like, it's a game. He's like, that's not a game. He doesn't play video games. He was like, that's not a game. And he stormed out of the room.
Wow.
Yeah, take that, naughty dog.
So what I'm saying, Pez, it is extremely powerful. And the thing about this game is it's powerful at the very start.
Mhm.
It gets you right off the start. And then it gets you to fall in love with characters. And it's not like Game of Thrones where they just start killing everybody off. It's Jesus, man. There is some powerful scenes. Like I will say this till there's that scene that I was talking about before. That is the most. There is 2 scenes in this game. 3. There's one in the cabin near the end. There's one in the bar, and then there's one I say the one on the Capitol building just because I truly love it now. Just the look Joel gives. Some of the most powerful scenes I have ever played in a video game. Ever.
I think everybody
Also, too,
has
when they
that. Like they all have like their like specific moment that they tell people about. And I feel like this game has a lot of them, and I feel like a lot of people's are very different. And I think
oh
that's how you know
man,
you create a special experience.
and you hit the nail on the head. I think one of the most iconic PlayStation moments, video game moments of all time for me is when they see the giraffes together. That is just totally different. And with the dual sense, and that's one thing I want to touch on
Oh yeah,
too
we
is the
forgot about that.
audio. Holy cow, the spatial audio. Oh my god. I had to take off my headset a few times because the scratching and clawing of the infected when you are just in a building and you know they're around, but like this is perfect because dads will understand. You'll be playing a game, you'll think you'll hear something and be like, oh, that is my little one calling, so I got to get on this. The amount of times I had to like tear off my headset and be like, there's someone screaming help. Like it was, and the way they've done the audio this time, it's not like it just comes, oh, it's coming left and right. It feels like it's like up there or down there, below you, behind you, scratching at walls. It's insane. And the way that it totally messed with me was like almost PT levels at time. Like it
Ooh.
was the audio, the spatial audio with the spatial audio engine. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I put it in my review, but
It's pretty much Dolby Atmos, but Sony calls it spatial audio. So we'll just 3D spatial audio, but it's Dolby Atmos. Like I have it in my basement, so like even without headphones, I get it. But the DualSense will actually act as another mic, and it'll actually give noises and cricks and
Oh
stuff like that.
no.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
hate
yeah.
oh,
that.
it will. I had
So if you take the
jeez.
headphones off, the DualSense will actually put sounds off they'll actually throw sounds for you. And I will say the adaptive triggers for like pulling the bow and pulling a shotgun, each gun felt different as you pull the trigger.
Totally. And even when you were healing, like you
Yep.
could almost not look at the screen and you knew that you were healing because as the character was bandaging their forearm, you would kind of feel that like resistance. It's weird. It felt like untwining fabric as you were like there's a weird resistance to like untwining something. I don't know how to describe it. I sound crazy, but when you do it, you'll know what I mean. But yeah, the weapons all feel different. Obviously, we've the whole like drawing a bow and the way how cool that feels, like it's been done a lot, but there's been some really, I still find the DualSense to be of this generation of hardware one of the most innovative things far and
Yep.
away. Like
Agreed.
it's just so cool with what they have been able to do and continue to do with that controller, and it's no different for Last of Us Part 1.
I think it's safe to say the next Xbox controller will have adaptive triggers and it'll have everything in it. Like Phil Spencer said it, like we're making this controller. Like he thinks it's the best controller. Like PlayStation is bringing out their version of the Elite. That thing's gonna be a monster.
I can't wait for that.
I know.
Can't wait to see how much that is though, but I'm gonna get it.
Well, hey, come move to Canada because you can add on an extra,
My guess,
extra $50.
my guess is probably 300 USD.
$300 for a controller?
I think it'll be the same price as the Elite. So the Elite here in Canada is $299. Yeah, $299 for the Elite here in Canada. So it's gonna be it's gonna be $150. I think it's $159 for the Elite in the US. Is it?
Oh, if they announce something crazy like the haptics are more responsive or there's a higher degree to the way it is on the edge, oh, I'm so in.
Yeah,
like
it looks great.
Graphics, 3D spatial audio, I love it all on the PS5 and what the Series X brings. But for me, the biggest game changer from like right out of the box, my PS5 playing Astrobot, it was just like, okay, like this is different. This is next generation in my hands right now, running over, ice or hearing it through the control. I know the controller was on the audio within the controller was in previous iterations, but man, when you combine it all together, it's like, okay, this is
It's even the light on the light bar when you're playing, the different colors change depending on the mood and the time of the day.
Yeah.
So that gets you to, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Can I please just mold the Xbox and the PlayStation together? Give put the joysticks, the sticks, make them
like
offset the sticks like on the Xbox, but with the DualSense, I love it. And
I love it too. Yeah.
Give me the features that they have inside the Series X, like quick resume. Like playing this as a review, really, really, really want a quick resume. I didn't want to have to continue putting it in rest mode. That has nothing to do with the review. That's just my one complaint about the PS5. They have the better controller by the widest margins on margins, but just quick resume, please.
So I have a question about Last of Us, and I
Yes.
think it's like the only negative feedback I had from the first game is that when you'd be hiding, Ellie wouldn't quite understand the concept of hiding, and the clickers would not identify her. So she
Great
would be
question.
hiding and being sneaky, and Ellie would just be kind of roaming around, literally
Nope.
standing in front of
That
clickers.
does not happen.
Does that happen in this
Really?
iteration? Because I think it did in PS4 as well.
It happened for me. It did
So
happen
I
for
didn't
me.
have
Not-
that happen. I
not
only
as
had that
often.
happen in Left Behind. I had a
Okay.
lot of errors during Left Behind. I had it crashed on me twice.
That
playing
is a
Left Behind.
fantastic question because it's one of the first things I went at. Like I was hypersensitive because I was just like, yeah, that was one of the big immersion breakers for me,
Mhm.
and it is vastly improved.
Good.
But it happened a couple of times where I'm just like, oh my god, they're right outside this doorway, and I'm here, and then Ellie just comes like running back through. and it's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
hold on, but it didn't happen as often as I remember. And if it did happen, she blew it. Like the characters would not respond. So it's fixed. It's not perfect, but it's much better. Much better.
And the clickers are a heck of a lot smarter.
Oh yeah,
That's scary.
So
this-
much smarter. And when you talking about spatial audio, the
Oh.
clickers, how they can throw their sound, yikes. That's all I'm gonna say. That first scene
It's,
when
yeah.
you first meet the clickers for the first time, chills. It's a yikes.
and when they're shrieking, it's like if you are in a big room, you're hearing it bouncing off the walls like you would in an echoey room. So you think they're everywhere, very offsetting and off-putting. And
I think
the way
Waba's
they
gonna poop his
screech-
pants. He's gonna Waba doesn't like horror
hey.
games.
So
I mean, I kind of did.
the messed up thing about this is I love Last of Us. I don't know if I can handle this. And I don't mean because like it's
Don't
it's
play
for
with
all
headphones,
the wrong
Waba.
reasons.
You you can't play with headphones.
You know, I think not only would I be scared, I don't. So I'm so I didn't play it on PS4 because I'm like, okay, I had my experience. I don't know if I could handle that first scene, and I don't know if I want to. So like, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know if I'm like ready for this game yet.
You can
Like
also
in general, like I feel like it's so intense. I don't have an issue with the gore, and that's probably the only thing. Just like what you're telling me about, like how hyper realistic it is for things that don't exist, but you constantly think they are. Like you hearing, like Dapper, you hearing the sounds and thinking it's around you. Like that's
or you hear little rats running around
yeah.
you, and the rats come on the
Yeah.
screen.
like
Or
I
you
don't
hear the
know
water
of another,
dripping.
yeah, I don't
The
know of
actual
another
drip of the water.
experience that would simulate that. Not even like a VR experience that exists today, and
But-
that's very weird because VR like it hinges solely on being able to immerse you, and the fact that this is doing it more than that, like that's incredible. And I don't know. It's weird because they're doing everything right, and I'm like, that might be too much for me. But I know eventually I will. But I never thought I'd see that. I'd be like, I don't know if I can handle this because it's so good.
You can skip
And
the
it-
cutscene right away. Like I did look, I pressed the pause button. You in the original times I've played through in this game, you can't skip the cutscene unless you've already played the scene. Right off the bat, they're allowing you to skip cutscenes.
I wonder if they'd be open to feedback of doing something like with no Russian in the Call of Duty series, where it's just like they briefly explain this is what's going to happen. You don't have to play this and give you a trigger warning, because I think especially for a lot of parents, a lot of people in general too, right? Like, yeah, if my goodness, you know,
People
heaven
about to
forbid,
watch this TV
you
show
lost
are
somebody.
about
Oh
to
my
be
gosh.
hurt. People
Yeah,
like
this is gonna
my
mess
wife.
people up.
My wife doesn't know. She's like, I don't want to watch this game, but she'll watch the TV show in a couple weeks when it comes out, and she's gonna get destroyed. And she's gonna be like, "You played this game 5 times?" I'm gonna be like, "Actually, 6."
It really is. I don't think like gamers kind of have a higher threshold for this stuff because we're trained to. You know, we've been playing all this garbage since, like you said, Mortal Kombat. Like, dude, if those God, if
But this
Nana who
transcends
was
games.
playing about Mortal Kombat saw what they saw now, they would like lose it.
This
So
game transcends games. I think this is the when it came out, it transcended games. It was the first, and when people get to watch this on the show, because it looks like they're doing it beat for beat. Like we as gamers, we all saw that trailer and we're like, that's the scene, that's
The
the
voice
scene,
is
that's
so
the scene.
good.
It's
Oh,
all
did
in
you
there.
See, Ron Swanson. What's the actor's
Yes, he's
name?
Bill.
He's John or Bill. Yeah, I was like freaking out. I'm like, this is the perfect casting, because it's just like him as Ron Swanson at Parks and Rec. He's like that. He's like very recluse and wants nothing to do with anybody. I cannot wait to see his portrayal of Bill. And Bill for me too. I don't know if it was the audio or what was going on at the time. I kind of forgot about him as a character, but I will not forget this time. I just felt like it was just so much more fleshed out. But he was hilarious. Like he was like I hate
So
you, get out
good.
of my face, but I'm gonna help you. Like people like that are truly the MVPs, where it's just like, deep down they're good people, but they'll tell you where to go. That's
So
the
I
real
think
help.
it's safe to say we're saying buy the game, play the
Oh
game,
yeah,
buy the game. It's
just not around your children,
it's.
and
Bro.
I'm going to use this word. It's a masterpiece.
yeah, absolutely,
There's a
I
reason it's
concur.
getting 10 out of 10s. Again,
Yeah.
this is the third release of the game, and it's getting 10 out of 10s.
That's
Now
crazy.
to play devil's advocate though, it still does shock me in some ways that it didn't kind of come as a definitive 1+2, right? Like just not even if
Fair.
they did anything at all and pop that in. Uh, I think it could have been. It was already close in my eyes, but if you want to make this like an 11 out of 10, imagine going back and forth through different parts of the story and maybe exploring a little bit more about Abby. Like I know we weren't quite there yet, and I think a lot of fans maybe don't want Abby in their part one, but just to kind of prepare people a little bit more for the new characters coming in. I don't know how exactly they would have done it, but if Naughty Dog's going to tell us a really good
Well,
story with,
technically, she was in the hospital, right?
yeah,
Because in 2, we know she's there. Have walk by her.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I
but
said,
not
I
not
still
like
think they
Master
should have put the
Chief.
Left Behind DLC. It actually would have flowed better if that Left Behind DLC was in there because it
Yeah,
expands more. Because that's what they did in 2, where they expanded more on the characters. And I think it would have expanded more on Ellie if they just gave it as one flow and just the Left Behind wasn't DLC. It was just in the story.
yeah. And so
I'm
the reason
actually
I was
surprised to hear
mentioning,
that.
sorry to interrupt you there. The reason I was mentioning Master Chief, I was going to be like, not like Master Chief in Halo Reach, where you have to like move your thumbstick to see that he's in cryo sleep. I don't know if you guys heard about that reference, but anyhow, but yeah, no, with Naughty Dog, they don't do little things like that. Like if they're going to show you a character, they are going to really connect at some point. But I that's the only way I can kind of see making part one better is the deeper integration into part two and adding a little bit more new things for players that are returning. That's probably my biggest critiques. I mentioned the minor frame rate issues going through certain spore hives, but they were few and far between.
Yeah, like I
Considering
said,
it was
the game broke on me twice. Just twice though.
okay, I never had any game breaking moments. Like there was never any hard crash once for me. And like I said, I was playing in fidelity mode, and towards the end of the game, you have a ton of the infected on screen, and nothing crashed. So, but
It's the
very impressive.
in Left Behind where you're inside the warehouse and you got the 3 trailers and the clickers are everywhere.
Mhm.
It's there. Crashed to me twice. When I was
Oh,
trying to
really?
just move Ellie was jumping on the box to get on top to go on the other side, and she fell down in between the boxes, and I was like, so I did it the first time and it crashed, and I had to turn off the game. So then I'm like, okay. So I was like, can I repeat it? And I did it. I'm like, yeah, works every time. It crashes the game out, which it is what it
I
is. Other thing though, to everybody, Nathan Drake is in the game. He was not in the last time. He
Yeah,
is
I
in
found
this
that too.
game. I put the
But
photo out today, so he wasn't in the game. So I had to make sure because when I saw it, that's why I took the photo. I was like, wait a second, I don't remember that Stuffy being in the game.
the
So it's not
dorm,
a
right? Yeah,
spoiler. It's just an Easter egg. Nathan Drake is in the game this time. He's in it twice.
and
He's in
and
the
an
dorm room.
Uncharted board. Did you see the Uncharted board game right beneath?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've
And there's
added some
lots of
more Easter eggs.
PS3s. There is PS3s all over. You hit a certain point in the game where you are in and around an educational institution. We'll just leave it at that. And there's a dorm area that you have to cut through in order to progress. And everyone owns a PS3. So way to go,
Yes.
Sony. Way to keep the PS3 in there. And it's the old fatty. Like it's the big like.
Oh.
Oh, I love that console. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, that that had a hard launch, but man, I really love that console. And the way that Sony turned it around with the PS3 was just insane, masterful.
Also, if you want to have some fun, there is a record store at one point that you walk in. If you want, those records are real records, but they're not named the right bands and they change the images. But I went through, like, there's a Misfits record, there's a Pearl Jam record, there's the Velvet Underground record, but like they're not called that. So I literally stopped there. I took a screenshot, and then I was like going on the internet. I was like, I think I know what that album is, and I was going through because in Last of Us 2 they made it way more obvious. Like every single Pearl Jam album is in it, plus the actual lightning bolt. But in this one, I was like, I never thought about that the last time I was in there, and I was like, oh, wait a second, I'm going to do that. And same, I want to go back into Left Behind and go into the arcade and see if those games are real. Because that's obviously what they do. I want to see if there's like a hint to the next Naughty Dog game. Because like Ubisoft does a phenomenal job at that. Because it's fun. Like they put Valhalla in Division 2. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there's posters all over the place in Division 2. Pez was the one who found it the very first time I was playing with him. He was just like, this is weird. And we were like standing in Division 2 and there's like enemies killing us everywhere. Me and Pez, our two characters, just staring at a wall. But there's a really fun Easter eggs in this game. So there's some added things. There are some changes. There are some things that, you know, I'll say it before, I'll say it again. I think it's a masterpiece. If you didn't jive with the game the very first time, I don't know if you're going to jive with it again.
I'm also, part of me was hoping that they would put their multiplayer in. I know there's a lot around that, but
that's going to be a free.
Last of Us, at least it's something, because Last of Us has, I would say, one of the best multiplayers since SOCOM, if you're a SOCOM fan. And it was very interesting how they did it. It's not going to like blow. How do I put it? It's what it is, and it does it very well. It was what
it was a surprise.
Yeah, you get shot, you're not dead till the next round. You can craft stuff. Some of the weapons carry up. It's like Counter-Strikey, in that respect. But it was very good to the point where like me and my buddies like played it on PS3 recently. Like,
Actions is amazing, but they said it's coming.
Yeah,
I think with the service, this is just my guess, educated guess here. That is going to be a free on PlayStation Plus, whether you have whatever version it is. It'll be, Sony is making a very big push. This will lead into what we're about to talk about. They're going into free-to-play PC, and obviously now they're going into mobile. They just purchased a studio that makes mobile games.
And that could be a killer app. When you talk about you want to make a free-to-play killer app to really push PlayStation Plus, well, here's Last of Us Factions. Like, people are going to be, and a way that you could just roll out in terms of just cosmetics, weapon upgrades. I hope they just keep it as cosmetic.
Yeah, I don't want Uncharted characters in the game. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I didn't like
clothes. If you can get Drake clothes, I'm fine with that. Like, you can wear that's another thing, because you can do it in the game. After you finish the game, I forgot to mention this, you can go speed run, but there are cheats, like almost like a game genie. You get points as you play the game. I didn't realize I was accumulating points, but at the end of the game, I had like 600 and something points for things that you do inside the game. And then you're able to like have unlimited ammo in your next playthrough. Have this. I don't know whether they affect your trophies or anything like that, but you also can unlock skins. And you can wear a Ellie can wear a Ghost of Tsushima t-shirt, or she can wear a Uncharted t-shirt throughout the game. So you can do those type of things.
I would buy some of these t-shirts. I saw what you're talking about. I want those
t-shirts.
Me too, so badly. Let's get it done, PlayStation.
Seriously, come on. You're listening. Make it done. Make it happen.
So I'm glad we got to talk about Last of Us with two folks who had played it. And Cord, I know you touched on the mobile piece very quickly. So what is it? French company Savage?
Yeah, I called it Savage.
That's fine. It is Savage. I'm just making this up. Yeah. Pez, what are we at?
About 53 minutes in.
All right.
Yeah, so we can do this.
Yeah, so let's talk
about Savage Game Studios.
Yeah, my quick opinion on this is what my hope is. I'm hoping, as someone that loves companion apps for games, I'm hoping we get companion apps for the big hitters on PlayStation, especially games that you're changing your loadouts and all that kind of stuff, or you can upgrade characters. And because they at PlayStation, Sony Santa Monica has a phenomenal companion app on MLB The Show that I use daily. And I'm also hoping, to be totally honest here, that we can get a Astrobot mobile game. I would play that game on my phone all day long.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
I like that.
Give me some of those. Like, I know mobile used to be this thing that no one wanted to hear, but I think it's time to get over it, and we can get some good mobile games.
Yeah,
that's my quick opinion on this purchase.
I just hope they move.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, like, it helps the back end a little bit more of, their sort of play everywhere initiative, or what they're working towards to sort of compete with Xbox. Again, I'm all for it too, but I think Court's correct and more like on the course right now. What this means is likely more companion apps, likely things that will just help to support like the central experience on an actual console. But you never know. That's the best thing about all this competition as of late. The companies just keep trying to one up each other. And without Xbox Game Pass, you're not going to have PlayStation Plus. Without certain cloud gaming initiatives coming out of Xbox, you're not going to have that from PlayStation. So you might have gotten it, but just not at the same click and ferocious pace. So it is just amazing to watch these two companies try to out innovate one another. And but I'm all for it. I don't know how I'm starting to feel though about all these mass acquisitions. It's going to take a while to kind of pan out in terms of, is this been good for the industry long term, or is it going to start to stifle some of this creativity that we've been enjoying, I would say, over the past, well, I guess since sort of the inception of what we still call, next gen Xbox Series X and S.
What have we had? I'll throw a question at you, and because I know, and I'll throw it at everybody. Have we had innovation? Have we had as much innovation as we had during the PS3, Xbox 360 era?
No.
Like, have we had that?
Studios aren't developing themselves; they're just buying other people, and like that's fine. But like that's it. Like that's why you don't see more Naughty Dog. Like Sony lucked out that they had all these internal studios that were just great, and now they have to buy other ones because they're not like making new studios, and the ones they are, they're not making a Days Gone 2. Like. The ones that are doing something different and crazy, they're like, it's very good. They're just like, you know what? Work on something else. And I love it now. It's like the news is wild. I think actually earlier this week, you brought it up. Variety said that Amazon was buying EA, and then the stock price shot up, and then some outlet came and said like, you're wrong and you're dumb. And then the stock price shut down. It wasn't just a you're wrong. They were basically taking shots at Variety for like just the audacity. And everyone's like getting whiplash from this news. Like it's crazy. And the fact that this news was wildly untrue, at least at the time, and everybody believed it, shows that we're just used to that.
I wonder if any like FTC investigations are going to start with some of these acquisitions, because if you float a rumor, you can very easily tamper. Like if
Seriously.
you have, like you got to think about it. Like the actual stock fluctuation that Amazon and EA enjoyed for a little while there was just like insanity. That could have made somebody millions if there was some insider trading. But yeah, you guys are hitting it like the nail on the head. People are getting more excited about the monopoly board of the video game industry being bought up by one company or the other. I want to see new games. That's where I get the most excited. It's kind of interesting to, think about, okay, if company A purchases company B, what's the long-term effects going to be? Is this going to be in my Game Pass library now? Hey, that is awesome. But for like the long-term like effects, I don't know about all this. And I do think it is the mass acquisitions are stifling a lot of innovation, and some of these game companies, when they are purchased, like Rare for me personally comes to mind. Like I'm a huge Banjo fan, and a lot of the games that they had coming out, like I love Sea of Thieves and all, I really do. But where's my Banjo? Where's my Blast Corps? Where's Jet Force Gemini? Even GoldenEye, right? Like all these things that were rumored. Like I'm happy Microsoft purchased Rare and could keep the company going, but what if? I always have that what if in my mind. What if they didn't acquire Rare, and what if Rare kept developing for Nintendo? What type of innovation would we have seen underneath Nintendo, right? Like right now, again, I'm really happy about some of the things that Rare has done under Xbox, but there's a lot of holes in my heart, especially with series like Banjo-Kazooie, which I'm just, they got to do something with it.
People are going to get mad when I say this, but I wish Insomniac made one of my favorite games of all time, which is Infamous. And then they made Spider-Man. They did a phenomenal job making Spider-Man. But what happened if they didn't and they made a new IP instead? We've got a million Spider-Man games. We're going to get, all Insomniac's going to do now is make Spider-Man games. So they've already said we're not getting another Infamous. They ain't happening.
The last Insomniac game on the Xbox. Oh man.
Oh, Sunset Overdrive. Unbelievable.
Overdrive. I love that game. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that, but that's what I'm kind of talking about with like these mass acquisitions, or one developer just slips into one barn of one platform permanently. What did we? It's kind of like multiverses. It's kind of like Doctor Strange. The whole like what if idea of like, well, I wanted the best Spider-Man game, and I think we are living in a gaming timeline right now with the best Spider-Man game we could ever hope for. But would I want to trade that off for like 5 other new, or well, 2 to 3 other IPs that we might not have ever seen, right? But I don't know. I'm a pretty big Spider-Man fan, so I'm
Same.
really
It's phenomenal.
pleased. I'm pleased as punch here with what we got. Like, don't get me wrong, but I also just part of me always wonders like what else. What have they continued to innovate on, or what other IPs would we might have seen if they
Or
didn't,
hey, how about this? Why don't we go back, make BioShock again now, fix the ending, and then make the best video game ever?
That's true. I agree with that.
wait, BioShock.
How about
Infinite?
Sony buys Ghost?
No,
House
make
or
the
whatever,
original BioShock,
Okay.
change
remake
the ending
BioShock.
because the ending is terrible and the game is amazing. But make it look like now, and then Waba won't be able to play it because that scene when you're in the theater would scare the living bejesus out of him.
There's so many jump scares in that game.
Oh man, I love BioShock. Do you like BioShock Infinite is one of my favorite games of all time. The ending alone I don't want to get too spoilery, but there's an ending that
you got
that
yourself.
explores multiple lighthouses, and the fan fiction and the fan theories that cropped up at the end of interpreting BioShock Infinite's conclusion. Nothing else has come close. Nothing. Like, I remember explaining the storyline of that game to my wife and what happened, and just we were driving from Toronto to Niagara Falls at the time, and she was actually listening. You're just like, okay, I don't want to hear about these stories anymore with your games. But with that, she was like into it. She was
Stupid
like,
nerd.
wow, okay. But oh man, yeah, BioShock Infinite. I can't really pump that game's tires enough. I love that game.
So there you have
Pez,
it.
you here?
Yeah.
Hanging. I'm just listening. I'm just a listener in this podcast.
Pez is a sponge. He's absorbing.
Absorbing. I'm the
I
tech
can't
guy.
wait to see. I can't wait for you to stream The Last of Us. I'll just watch it.
If I'm gonna play it, the first time I play it, I'm not playing it on stream.
Yeah, you can't.
Interesting.
2 reasons.
No,
Yeah.
he can't.
2 reasons
I agree.
is the first is I want to play with my Pulse headset, so I want to experience the spatial audio. And then
Good
secondly, if I'm playing on Twitch, I'm not going to be able to absorb the game as it's intended, because
Good
then
point.
I also have
Your audio cut out.
Oh, I thought that was me.
I accidentally hit the mute button on my arm. So then if I'm playing it on Twitch, I can't absorb the game as it's intended. I have to also be the streamer with the noises and the silly junk and all that stuff. So
I can't wait for the text from Pez. Pez is just gonna be like, "I hate you all," and I hate you all, because it's gonna happen.
That text more than I usually send them.
Yeah. No, this will be the I'm crying and I'm a big man baby right now because I'm crying.
You imagine that? Like Pez
I
is
cried
through this
4
series,
times
and then you hear
this
like a
playthrough.
clown noise.
4 times I cried through Last of Us Remake.
Why
4
would
times.
you do that to yourself? It makes no sense.
It's like this interesting like commentary on the human condition. Why do we love survival horror so much? Why do we love these stories of just like, think about Uncharted? It's a little bit more light and cheery than something like The Last of Us. But The Last of Us
He kills way more people than Joel ever did.
He murders everybody in
yeah.
Uncharted.
That's true.
There's a meme I've seen where it just shows the dead bodies keep dropping, and Nathan Drake standing beside it and like making jokes and chuckling and going like this, and they're like, "Oh, Uncharted is so fun loving," and it's just dead body after dead body.
And he's
listen,
killing
he
them for
wears- he wears-
treasure. It's not even
He
like
wears a
noble.
tuxedo, so it's okay.
He said,
You're
okay,
wearing a
fair.
tuxedo. But no, well, yeah, I guess now that you're bringing up the body count, it kind of like really stymies my argument here. But I don't know, like just the overall themes and the dark tones in The Last of Us, and it's picked up all the Game of the Year awards. Not to say that Uncharted hasn't, but man, we love our dark, foreboding storytelling, right? It's
Uncharted 4.
especially-
Think about it. Uncharted 4 was the darkest Uncharted.
Yeah.
Because when they're on the island, that's dark.
Yes.
It's very dark undertones. Like they change. Uncharted 4 was extremely good at using the weather to tell a story and to set the mood. And I would almost say that The Last of Us does it unbelievably. Like when you're in that building and the water is cascading from the floor, Jesus. It's just it's dystopic. Oh man, I could keep talking about this game. It's just so good.
So overall, this is 3 Dads and a Dapper Tux approved. So
Oh yeah, like so many thumbs up, so many tuxes up,
Tux up.
wingtips up. Yeah.
I'm getting my suit dry cleaned as we speak. I have to wear one for the first time in like 4 years.
Should have worn it here.
No.
There you go. Come on here, full tuxedo.
I was happy it fit. I'm gonna be honest.
True.
Oh man, with this pandemic living, we've all been there. Holy.
So thank you so much for joining us, Dapper Tux, everyone. If folks want to hang out with you when you're not hanging out with us, where can they find you?
You can catch me on all the socials at Dapper_Tux. I also write for Best Buy Canada along with Mobile Syrup and have my brand spanking shiny new blog, dappertux.com, where you can catch everything I'm doing there. Plenty of reviews, fashion tips. It's all there. So yeah, lots of places to seek me out. That's for sure.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys. Had a great time.
Thank you.
And if you had fun, please make sure to check us out on youtube.com/3dadsandaconsole, where you can watch us live. Just like the fine folks in chat. We had Saguba Steve, we had Nicholas Johnson, we had Save the Game Media, Robbie, Bobby Miller. So thank you folks for joining, and you can ask us questions, interact with us. We'll chat with you. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, rate us on iTunes or Apple Podcast, whatever your podcast platform of choice is.
5 out of 5.
That's right.
Stars.
No. And we will see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.
We'll see you next